Jazz. There are moments in life when everything changes in a single second. Not because of a loud argument, not because someone confesses, Jazz, but because you notice one tiny detail that your heart has been trying to ignore for years. People always say the truth sets you free. They never tell you that before it frees you, Jazz, it destroys everything you thought you knew. My name is Emma. For 34 years, I believed I knew exactly who I was. I believed I had a loving husband, a beautiful home, a successful career, Jazz, friends who celebrated every achievement, and a younger sister who always stood beside me. At least, that's what I believed. If someone had asked me back then whether I trusted my sister, Jazz, I would have laughed. Of course I trusted her. She was family. She was the first person I called when something good happened. She was the shoulder I cried on after our father passed away, Jazz. She helped me choose my wedding dress. She stood beside me as my maid of honor. She smiled in every family photograph. Looking back now, that smile feels different, Jazz. Sometimes I wonder if she was already planning everything, while pretending to love me, or maybe she simply waited for the perfect moment. Either way, she didn't just steal my happiness, Jazz. She almost stole my entire life. And if one forgotten letter had never appeared, I would still be living inside her lie. It all started on an ordinary Monday morning, Jazz. The kind of morning nobody remembers. The alarm rang at 6:30. The coffee machine hummed in the kitchen. Rain tapped softly against the windows, Jazz. My husband Daniel was already dressed for work. He kissed my forehead without looking up from his phone. "Busy day?" I asked. He smiled quickly. "You know Mondays, nothing unusual, Jazz. Nothing suspicious. Just another normal conversation between two people who had been married for 8 years. Also, I thought, Daniel worked in finance. Long hours, constant meetings, Jazz. Business dinners, weekend conferences. I never questioned any of it. I was proud of him. Meanwhile, I worked as an interior designer, Jazz. My projects kept me busy enough that I rarely noticed how often Daniel was away. When we finally had dinner together, we laughed. We talked about vacations we wanted to take, Jazz. We planned future renovations for the house. Sometimes we even talked about having children. Life wasn't perfect, but whose life is? Then there was Sophie, my younger sister, Jazz. 3 years younger, beautiful without trying. Funny, confident, the kind of person who walked into every room like she already belonged there. People loved Sophie instantly, even strangers, Jazz. Especially men. But I never felt jealous. Why would I? She was my sister. Whenever Daniel couldn't attend family dinners, Sophie stayed longer to keep me company. Whenever I felt stressed, Jazz, she brought ice cream and terrible romantic movies. She always knew exactly what to say. She always knew exactly when to appear. Now I realize, she also knew exactly when Daniel would be gone, Jazz, or maybe exactly when he wouldn't. One Friday evening, Sophie invited herself over. She carried a bottle of wine and smiled the way she always did. "I missed you," she said. "Jazz, I saw you last weekend. That's too long." We laughed, horse passed without anything important happening. We talked about work, about our mother, about childhood memories, Jazz. At one point she looked around the living room. "You've changed the curtains. You noticed? They're beautiful. You always notice everything." She smiled. "I try, Jazz." That sentence stayed with me for reasons I couldn't explain. I notice everything. Back then it sounded sweet. Today, it sounds like a warning. Daniel arrived home later than expected, Jazz. His eyes widened for a split second when he saw Sophie sitting on the couch. It happened so quickly, I almost missed it, almost. "Oh," he said. "I didn't know you were here." Sophie laughed. "Did I leave?" "No." His answer came too quickly. I mean, of course not. Then everything returned to normal, or at least, it looked normal. Dinner, small talk, jokes, television, gas. Nothing dramatic, nothing obvious, nothing that would make any reasonable person suspicious. Except, there were tiny moments that only make sense when you replay them years later. Gas. Daniel finishing Sophie's sentences. Sophie knowing what coffee he wanted before he asked. The way they avoided looking at each other for too long. Gas. The way they laughed just a second earlier than everyone else. Small things, meaningless things, until they aren't. Over the next few months, strange coincidences kept happening. Gas. Whenever I invited Sophie over, Daniel suddenly cancelled work. Whenever Daniel traveled, Sophie somehow became too busy to answer my calls. Birthdays, anniversaries, family barbecues. Gas. The timing was always perfect, too perfect still. I ignored it because that's what trust does. Trust fills every empty space with excuses. He works hard, she's busy. Gas. I'm overthinking. We become detectives only after the crime has already happened. Before that, we become lawyers defending the people who hurt us. Gas. Then something happened that should have changed everything. But it didn't, not yet. I came home early one afternoon. My client had cancelled at the last minute. The house was unusually quiet. Gas. Daniel's car wasn't outside. I walked inside carrying grocery bags. As I entered the kitchen, I heard footsteps upstairs. I froze. Someone was definitely inside. For one terrifying second, Gas, I thought a stranger had broken into the house. I grabbed the nearest frying pan. My heart pounded so loudly I could barely hear myself breathing. Then, Sophie walked downstairs. Gas. She looked surprised. Then she smiled. Oh my goodness, you scared me. I blinked. What are you doing here? I forgot my scarf after dinner yesterday. I looked around. Gas, you came all the way back for a scarf? She laughed. It was my favorite. Something about her answer felt off, but then she held up the scarf. There, mystery solved. I laughed too. Gas. I actually apologized for startling her. Can you imagine that? I apologized. Sometimes betrayal doesn't hide behind lies. It hides behind your own willingness to believe them. Gas. That night I mentioned it to Daniel. Oh, Sophie stopped by today. He nodded without looking away from the television. Really? She forgot her scarf. Oh. Nothing more. No questions. Gas. No surprise, just. Oh, at the time I thought nothing of it. Today, that single word echoes louder than any scream, because people are surprised by unexpected news. Unless, Gas. It wasn't unexpected at all. Weeks turned into months. Life kept moving. I received a promotion. Daniel bought me flowers. Sophie helped me redecorate my office. We smiled for photographs. Gas. We celebrated birthdays. We toasted to the future. Every picture from that year tells the same lie. 3 smiling people, 1 happy family, 1 perfect life. Gas. But photographs never capture what hides behind someone's eyes. And they certainly don't reveal the secrets waiting inside an old wooden box. Gas. A box that had been sitting untouched in my mother's attic for over 20 years. A box containing 1 forgotten letter, 1 handwritten name, 1 truth. Gas. The truth that would expose every lie Sophie had carefully built. And when I finally opened that box, nothing in my life would ever be the same again.